Hey, this is Notser, and once again, we're taking a look at Project Cold War. And this time, we're actually taking a look at that new agent that was just unlocked for the last 2 or 3 extended days, Walkure. This is a East German attacker that has a unique playstyle and one that does not actually exist in the attacker repertoire so far. So it makes me excited that Wargaming's willing to have different style of tanks, not necessarily, fast attacking, high damage, or long range accuracy. It seems that with the ability structure, it allows for a little bit more customization. So let's take a look at the loadout for this agent. So Valkyr doesn't have any upgrades, and pretty much nothing else other than energy boosts and stim packs. So you pretty much know what consumable build you'll have to run. And for your perks, you can choose between gun accuracy, gun stabilization while traversing the turret, gun handling and aiming time. And then the second one is field gunner. So aiming speed, crit damage on your AP or HE heat shells, or you can passively reduce the gun reload time and reduce the energy consumption while sprinting. I chose Stim Pack Plus, and I chose This Is My Gun for gun handling and aim time. And the reason I did that is because of the features that this agent offers. So the first one, Tombstone. Each kill grants energy regen for 15 seconds. Nice. So it just straight activates each kill. This is good for the challenge missions where you need to activate certain conditions because this is basically guaranteed on one kill. All you have to do is get one kill and this will activate and you'll have that mission completed if you're trying to do that in the future. So that's nice about the character. A single shot, and that single shot does 650 damage, which is high. The base reload is 8.5, but with my enhancement, I have it down to 7.65. And the first ability is just literally called Autoloader. An awesome automatic device that just keeps delivering rounds into the gun. So when you activate Autoloader, it makes your reload speed something in the realm of like 3.5 seconds or 2.5 seconds versus the base 8.5 or 7.65. And you'll see it in the match. And for the duration of this, which I think is like 15 seconds, you get just faster reload on your really high alpha gun. So it's really nice for killing targets or leveling the playing field a little bit. Now, the final ability is No Retreat. Do not dare to retreat, comrade. Increases reverse speed. So the reason that this is on this tank is because the reverse speed is a very glaring weakness of this tank. So you will be rammed very hard by those defenders, chopper, who want to chase you down. And this is sort of a way to compensate for that chasing. And it gives you a way to avoid some of the collisions that can happen, but you have good forward momentum, which at least, there's that. So we're going to show off the tank and see some gameplay for it, and hopefully you guys will enjoy. All right, so Valkyr. This is not, the name doesn't really fit with the way that the agent plays, but doesn't matter. I'm going to showcase this East German Soviet tank attacker unit. And yeah, it's going to, I actually really enjoyed playing it, and I'm excited to see how far Wargaming is willing to push these concepts. Because as an attacker, this could be... The thing is that as the game is designed, we're going to obviously capture D, that goes without saying. But as the game is designed, you have attackers, defenders, and fire support. And all of the defenders are supposed to be able to be interchanged with each other for matchmaking purposes. So this is an attacker. This will take the same spot as any other attacking unit. And some of the attacking units that they've advertised are even wheeled vehicles, which is very different from this monster alpha. I mean, we just did 1,278 damage. I can't really think of a single attacker that has that kind of alpha. So, yeah, it's gonna be an interesting development for the game to see where they end up going with the design. Taking huge amounts of damage. And at this point, I wasn't as aware of how the autoloader ability functioned. That's why you saw me just completely failing.
Been worse.
But as we're gonna get familiar with this, we're gonna show off this tank. You'll note that forward momentum's pretty good. It rams really well. The reverse is the slowest defender reverse that I've seen in the game so far. So that's telling you something as well, that the way Wargaming wants to try and envision this is they want to maybe make a glaring weakness of a tank if they give you something that others don't have. And because of the gun alpha and the autoloader, it effectively feels like maybe even a defender in its damage output alpha. So it combos really nicely with something like Udarnik for multiple reasons.
I'm not done yet.
And you gotta make clear vulnerabilities if this has the chance to chase down better than a defender would. And that's where I think this clearly shows just how
Got marshmallows.
effective it can be just as doing damage. And man, that auto-loading ability, it's really satisfying. It uses a lot of energy, and it's got a long cooldown. But, I mean, the amount of damage that you can do, you can go toe-to-toe with a chopper and, trade decently, which is nice. I couldn't do this in the Reaper, for example, or even Raketa, because Raketa has a lower damage clip than this would have. But obviously, it always has the auto-loading trait. I only have the auto-loading trait whenever I activate the ability,
Isn't that thing?
which ultimately ends up being, like, after death, I end up using it a lot, and this guy, he's just not going to get away. Really big amount of damage. Tombstone's nice, but, the cooldown on the autoloader is so long that I don't really run out of energy. So honestly, the nicest thing about the Tombstone proc is that it's so frequent. So if I have a mission condition that needs my frontman trait to proc, well, this is a great option for an agent in the future. And that's kind of how you should look at playing in something like Project Cold War. This is something that in Halo Infinite, this similar design has been envisioned. So yeah, it has very specific conditions that you have to fulfill, and then it will unlock a further rewarding mission. And, sometimes you might not have it, and boy, we just took a huge amount of straight damage. You have decent armor, but you don't have enough armor that you can just absorb round after round after round.
Not today, Steve.
Just like any other Soviet-era tank, the same sort of weak points are here and should be considered if you want to be successful. But, we head back out. Not the best accuracy, but not the worst. But as I get closer, this is the open terrain that the autoloader really works for. And I'm just trying to track him. And that's nice. You can track with one round. And
Still.
you can get, I think, 4 or 5 shells, and we just ram him.
Hitting like a
But we can get 4 or 5 shells in the time that we activated our ability. The ideal, optimal way to play Walkure would be to fire your round from your gun and then immediately activate your ability, because that will institute the fast reload. You don't want to activate the ability before you fired your first round, because you want to maximize the potential return from it. But in doing that, you can do a lot of damage in a short amount of time, and they're just not ready for it. So we're going towards B. B was, I guess people don't realize what it's trying to do, but it's trying to move you out, and just love the alpha on this gun. Good mobility. It kind of is what you could make Udarnik with mobility-focused upgrades. I don't know if this is a fully upgraded Walkure that needs to have some consideration as far as that is concerned, or if they just didn't opt to give any of the upgrade options because it's in a test state. And when you introduce those to the Walkure, it could customize the mobility further. It could close up the reverse weakness. I know that's an issue. We're just trying to track this guy. Come on, come on, come on, come on. It's a really good chase with the autoloader. You're just not going to get away from him. And can we ram? Ram kill, ram kill, ram kill. Nope, we just fire a gun. But yeah, this is high alpha attacker if I've ever seen one. It's got a really decent amount of hit points. Obviously, since it's an attacker versus a defender, you cannot get like master engineer. So the Udarnik's going to have better recovery, for example. But it's not going to have this kind of mobility. And it's just going to feel heavier. And then further, it's not going to get access to the unique perks and or upgrades that Walkure will eventually have access to. Obviously, we don't have that right now, but we will at some point. But yeah, just really, really enjoying the Alpha's gun and the ram potential because you're just so fast. And I was looking for a crit there, but very good at ramming, clearly. I would guess that they're going to add ram reward for some type of upgrade with this. Just seems like it's the natural way to go with such a long reload on your gun. So we do a good job at B point. Don't have enough energy to activate, but this guy, I don't know, he's like, leave me alone. I'm not going to leave you alone. You have to engage me. Just look at how slow the reverse speed is. We're going to have another game where it's going to be shown off because there'll be I think there'll be a charging chopper, but the reverse of this tank is incredibly bad. It is absolutely the worst part of the tank is the reverse speed. And that's why the ability exists. But if you're out of energy, you can't use the ability. So, yeah, that's the autoloader is definitely worth it. I'll definitely deal with horrible reverse speed to get that kind of autoloader on an attacker. But yeah, its reverse speed is really tough to deal with. So just looking at the tank, another Conquest on the same map, same game mode. And hopefully we can show off more of the tank, of course. One thing that I will say is, as it is closed alpha, it doesn't indicate very well that the reload is enhanced. The icon is a generic auto-loading icon. So the way that this auto-loads is different from an actual autoloader. It just reduces the reload of the gun. Doesn't have to sort of, reload a clip that then will sit on the tank, and that, there'll be a set, I guess, unload. And boy, we had a little bugginess there. I went for the ram.
That one's mine.
I don't know that I got the ram though. And just weird glitchiness there. Clearly closed alpha. But we obviously rush into B point, and we're going to try and capture it. Trying to keep good facing.
My turf now.
And really high crit. Really love the alpha on the gun. And it's got decent mobility already with no upgrades in that way. So I would guess that compared to Udarnik, it's probably about 10 kilometers faster-ish. Yeah, look at that. You have to activate the reverse to really get out. Otherwise, if you go forward too much and you reverse, you'll get stuck reversing forever. A couple Walkures in this one. It's tough. I was keying off this low health and I'm trying to finish him, but we don't. And right in front of our friend, who is exactly us. High alpha. Hurts a lot.
Anywhere.
Friendly rushes forward. Hopefully he'll absorb the attention. And look at how slow this is. If you don't have the reverse ability, you just will not reverse, ever. But when the reverse ability is there, it's the best thing ever. And he activates his autoloader, and yeah. Two of these, the two Walkure, have a really high potential kill. They might work very well as a division, for example,
I didn't get out of jail
because they have really high alpha. They have really good mobility forward. And as long as they don't get, stuck in a kill box where they have to back up, it's going to be a successful endeavor, I think, for at least two of these together. It might pair well with Udarnik as well. Or it might pair well with something completely different with a faster rate of fire. But it's got good traits to it, and I like that it's classified as an attacker. This is this is different than the way that I've seen them do this type of content before. And he's also got his autoloader. It doesn't look like he has stim pack. And, oh my gosh. He knows where to crit me in the front. I do not know the crit points on this agent yet. And those two Walkure, they really did a number on me early game. And it is difficult to accept the alpha that was just fired at us by those two. They had a really, really easy time wearing out all my health. And it looks like they might have gone towards B point, because there's a lot of attackers over there. And we're going to head out over there. And, as you think about this, is this something that could potentially be... Could you have an issue with this in the sense that if two M1A1s are classified, one as an attacker, one as a defender, is that something that is confusing to see the same tank type but have, different cosmetic and obviously different inherent gameplay? To me, I think that the game trumps even real-life requirements. So, yeah, the gun is quote-unquote the same gun as I think Udarnik has.
No tracks.
But it has different abilities that enable different play, and I like that. It lets them reuse some tanks that maybe they weren't able to reuse in something like World of Tanks in a natural way. And it doesn't have to be like a premium, for example, like a premium Italian Tiger or, whatever the slight spin you might put on it. This allows them to release an agent into the game that's using effectively the same, you could have a fire support eventually use this exact same platform. And when I'm talking platform, I'm just talking the alpha with the reload. It's very familiar to me as a player playing Udarnik. You can upgrade Udarnik and make him play even different compared to this, but it is a familiar amount of alpha. It's a familiar amount of positioning. So yeah, you could even envision some fire support that would mimic this even more. And I guess the thing that they would probably be using more than anything is the high alpha paired with the armor scheme. It's good forward, but maybe side and rear, it's pretty vulnerable, right? So yeah, one of the things that something like Walkure opens up is that conversation. And I've played a few games. I haven't played against it necessarily, and I haven't discovered some cheapness that it inherently has. But yeah, I like the way that it seemingly plays out. This enemy over here. He's just driving into the point, just trying to keep aware of anyone nearby. And do we have a shot on that guy's ammo? We miss out on the ammo crit. Just finish him. No. Nope, we can't. But someone else does on our team. And look, Perfect example of fail. I used the autoloader right as the target died, and now I don't get any value from it. It sucks, right? So I was confused. It seems that there was a recovery right there. You notice? Maybe if I activate the auto-loading ability and I never actually fire my gun, it allows me to reuse it. I'm not quite sure. I was a little confused by seeing that, and I noticed that my energy usage is really low. So I would estimate what, and this is all estimation because the abilities lack like a good description that clearly defines what the ability does
So it was all
when you
worth it.
press the button and all the way to the very end and beyond. So what I think is happening is if you activate the autoloader and you never actually fire the gun, then it seems to allow the ability to come off a
I'm here to make
cooldown
cheap
and be
jets and
available
lay mines,
again,
and I'm all out of
if
ghosts.
I'm not mistaken. And if that's the case, that's a nice little... Oh, oopsie, pressed it and I didn't want to. You still lose the energy, but your frontman trait regenerates energy just on a kill. And you have a high alpha gun, so it should be easy to get a kill, right? Much higher chance that a single shell from Walkure will be able to kill a target versus something like Akira because of the way that they design their guns. Obviously, fast firing Akira, it has the heat cooldown, so you have to locate the shells accurately in some crit locations, whereas something like Walkure, you got a big gun that can potentially track on the first shot, but then you can follow up with an autoloader ability mechanically and effectively do just fine. And we drive around with our friendly Walkure and bump right into the enemy. And note, the reverse is terrible, and great example, Titan. Titan activates his B-52, and because he activates it, I needed to back out, and I backed out pretty aggressively, but we waited for him around the corner, and this is a nice little hidey hole that you can go into and always have, and it transitions over to the stadium. But we have a good flank on the enemy, and we could activate our autoloader at any point. I would really like to finish off the low health Titan. And we do activate the autoloader. And that's pretty much textbook. You activate it into a potential target. Enemy hides around the corner. Can't really fire on him. Going for the ammo rack. Huge amount of alpha. I cannot express to you how satisfying it is. If I were to compare this to a game that I also cover, World of Warships, it's like they created a destroyer with a really high alpha gun that can go up against other destroyers, and there's an ability, a consumable on that DD that allows you to, fast reload. And only during that will the gun be competitive in that sense that in a 1 versus 1 you can hang out. But they don't do that in World of Warships. That doesn't exist, but clearly they want to try a little bit more of an extreme design, and I love it. So I was aware that Jaeger was still up, and I didn't really care that Titan was over there. He was engaged with other Titans, so we'll fight for days. Instead, I'm just going to bypass and go for Jaeger. And my autoloader is coming off a cooldown. Use the ram damage because we are bigger. Bigger is better. You ain't getting away. Tombstone. A nice activation to regen some energy. And it seems to flow really nice. I know this is closed alpha and this is a work in progress tank for sure. But yeah, I think it's a nice, it's cool. It's cool. I like it. I think I would like it more as they consider, continue growing this concept with further upgrades to maybe make it feel more like a defender. Feel more like an attacker, or maybe a defender light even. There's been complaints that not all the attacking agents, their tanks are viable for defense. So it would be nice if maybe you could make this more viable for defense. I don't know if that creates an issue where like all the defenders and all the attackers will go this heavily defensive tank. I don't know. I honestly want them to just experiment. So we stayed out of the combat area, and I noticed that B Point was under attack from the enemy. And because B Point's under attack from the enemy, we're going to head out over and check out B Point and get in a flank position, a great position that the attacker can always do. And yep, we are right behind him. It's going to be tough. It is going to be really tough. Someone fired from the rear, maybe a sniper. But it's going to be really tough to have this guy relocate to another part of the map because he's just got a really high alpha. And the heavy defenders, for example, they have really high armor, and the time that it would take your traditional attacker, let's say Raketa, to damage Chopper or Udarnik, it would take quite a long time. But if you were to choose Walkure and do the same type of flank maneuver to the rear, with the ability, you can definitely kill the Goliath on the enemy team, and then, you know, eventually they'll come back, and this guy is trying to drive around us. He can't get away, and we had just enough time on an autoloader to take out the Jaeger, and it was really satisfying. I think if the Jaeger was in that same situation, he obviously would not want to, you know, be right next to us, but he doesn't get to choose. Teammate finishes off Raketa, and there's 2 enemy Titans coming over the ridge. And because we have a friendly Titan and another friendly out there, I'm just going to try and help as much as I can. They finish off the friendly out there. I'm just trying to have decent angle against, track the player. Good tracking, and it's nice to have the skills developed on Udarnik that I can instantly apply over to Walkure and be reliable with the armor and the gun system. So, enemy Titan's taken out. I have the ability to activate my autoloader, and we're just gonna rush this guy and do as much damage as we can. The autoloader, the tank feels a little bouncy. I will say it wants to drive up walls a lot. Maybe that's just because it's new to closed alpha, but you could very easily find yourself bumping into walls and climbing up on it. I didn't have that experience with others, but I definitely have that experience with Walkure. So we win the last round as well, and then now we just need to defend. And hopefully the enemy team puts up a decent fight. But it's been really fun looking at Walkure. I like the direction, and I just can't wait to see where they go with this agent and more. More to come, right? I could obviously see them nerfing Walkure, maybe the alpha amount. But remember, 70 seconds on this autoloader, that's a really long time to wait. And, oh god, it's gonna do this to me. The sad reverse speed. You really have to basically activate the reverse ability to get out of the area quick enough for something like the B-52. And I'm sure that's not even the upgraded B-52. So imagine the upgraded B-52. It's just going to be difficult. Just all you can say. And now we don't have it for this, so we just have to try and focus the low health target. Miss out on the crit. Jaeger's trying to pick on us. And I don't know how to change my position so that Jaeger can let me drive past him. Oh, he missed his shot. Oh, he missed it. And we just... we scraped along his side, and that was enough ram damage. Go for the ammo rack. Yep. Give me another one so I can kill you. Oh, teammates. Finish him off. So that was Walkure. Not bad, huh? Interesting indeed. Tell me what you think in the comments. If you like the video, please like. And yeah, not half bad. I enjoyed it, and you Darnic players are going to like it. Thanks, and have a wonderful day.